In 2004, the Secretary of State for Defence, Jeff Hoon, had to explain to the House of Commons why a soldier had died in Iraq. A soldier died because the Ministry of Defence, apparently, had not supplied enough body armour for the number of troops that were involved and stationed there. In the same way, Alistair Darling, when he was Chancellor of the Exchequer, had to explain why computer disks, which contained the personal details of millions of people receiving child benefit in 2007, had gone astray. This is the principle of ministerial responsibility. The minister takes personal responsibility for errors conducted during her tenure, whether she is absolutely aware of something or not, whether it was done knowingly or unknowingly at her behest or by people who were acting stupidly, because it is her job to ensure that people are hired and fired appropriately. So misdeeds are her responsibility. Serious misdeeds, criminal misdeeds, are also her responsibility. So I'm not really very surprised that when Suella Braverman visited the sites in Kent today, that she did so out of view of television cameras. The question is, what did she see? Because now she must be thoroughly aware of the fact that migrants are sleeping on the floor, of the fact that there is sickness in these camps, of the fact that there is alleged abuse, either by fellow detainees or by those people who are allegedly in charge. So there are a series of issues. Now, all of those issues come very close to a distinction that is made in law, in British law particularly, and this was explained to me 20 years ago when I was taking a case through the European Court of Human Rights about torture. Was this torture or was this inhumane treatment? Now, the word inhumane has been used a few times in the last couple of days to describe the quality of life imposed on those people detained in the camps in Kent. Now, if indeed inhumane is the condition in which they are detained, then I'm afraid Britain is going to face, or the Home Office is going to face, some serious legal challenges, which will run into many thousands of pounds per victim. And I'm sure lawyers are lining up to take those cases because I suspect they're going to be straightforward. And Suella Braverman will be held personally responsible in many of these cases. Her name will appear on a lot of the paperwork. And it will become significantly worse for her if she has, in fact, if it can be proven that she has, in fact, said that people should not be moved, that people should be left on the floor, that people should only be handed paracetamol when they have serious illness. The buck stops with the Secretary of State. And it's probably just as well that she's gone to look at the place for herself, but I suspect she won't want to be caught on camera looking at any specific thing, because at least there's some wriggle room while she doesn't, quote, know. Now she's been there, that wriggle room is significantly reduced. This is probably one reason why sometimes ministers and maybe even prime ministers suddenly go ill. Because if you're ill, you can't be there. And it makes it much harder to pin fault on you for what was done in your absence when you were demonstrably ill. This is also perhaps why Suella Braverman left the House of Commons so speedily the other day. She can't take questions if she's not there. An evasive and belligerent Secretary of State doesn't command authority and is open to the sort of charges that all she's good for is rhetoric and sloganizing. When we think back, we think, who on earth was doing rhetoric and sloganizing and not doing it very well, even at that? Oh my goodness, Liz Truss. Liz Truss, she of the incoherent tricolon. I think Suella Braverman is following in her footsteps, or at least her hand gestures. Poor Suella Braverman. Your heart ought to go out to her. No, my heart really only goes out to the victims, and the victims are manyfold. They're the people who are held in the camps. They're the people who are policing those camps, who are responsible for looking after them, and I believe there aren't enough staff to look after these people. That must be an absolute misery. And the security forces who are policing the beaches, the lifeboat people who are patrolling our waters, these are the people I feel sorry for. And I feel sorry for those people caught up in fake propaganda, whether that is fake propaganda put out by the Home Office or whether it's put out by traffickers. Ordinary people are caught up in the nonsense that there is a better life in the UK. Better life on the floor, suffering from disease, with no clear future, in limbo for over a year. That's not my concept of a better life. That's not my concept, as Suella Braverman said the other day, of a year free in the UK. That's a year of misery. That's a year of my life gone if I choose that route. No. There must be better options. And in the meantime, our reputation is rapidly sliding into the channel along with all the ordure that we pump out. We're looking wretched.